Hello there, race fans. Welcome to another edition of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined today by David Cole as we kind of hit on some of the stuff that has made its way to the ekartingnews.com homepage. Again, the news keeps rolling in. David, the news desk manager, gets it up as quickly as we possibly can. These podcasts, perfect for if you're driving home from work or driving to work, whatever it may be. Of course, first time this will go out will be on the streaming EKN Radio Network. Then, David, in a couple days, we'll turn it into a podcast that you can get on demand through either iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, Spotify, of course, on the website as well. And you can listen to all the audio that we do produce. This is our 7th episode of This Week in Karting, the new podcast that we kicked off late last year, Monday, February the 25th, 2019. And David Cole and I, not long for the offices here, as we will be heading out on Thursday bound for the first round of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, the Winter Nationals, taking place at Cal Speed Karting Complex this coming weekend. This particular edition of This Week in Karting is being presented by Briggs Racing. Briggs & Stratton is powering Operation Grassroots around the world. No other engine manufacturer is getting new and returning drivers to the kart track like the Briggs 206. Their out-of-the-box performance provides the most fun, excitement, and reliability of any karting engine on the global market. Learn more about the 206 engine and the history behind Briggs & Stratton's century-long commitment to motorsports at www.briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? All right, David, we got a lot coming in. It's been a while since we've done one of our This Week in Karting podcasts here on the EKN Radio Network, and a ton is going on. And really across the board, a bunch of different engine manufacturers we're going to talk about. We got Rotax, we got Rock, we got IAME stuff to talk about here. We got different series to talk about. You're going to take a time and give us a bit of an update on what happened at the Florida Winter Tour, their second round that was at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Dude, this is like 4 or 5 pages. There's a lot of stuff going on. This will be a 90-minute podcast for sure.
It's been almost a month, really, because of the busy schedule that we've had. I believe January 30th was our last taping. So a lot has gone on since. And obviously, our dual weekend kept us busy for not only that weekend, but the week after with the debriefs that we did and catching up on all the office stuff. And not to mention just regular life and work schedules as well. So it's been a busy.
Well, you got to throw in you going out and having to plow the snow too, shovel snow.
It's another snow day, but really this is an ice day for the kids here. So I think half the month, and again, February is not that long with only 28 days, but I think over half the month they've been home because of snow or ice days.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
It's time to move. It's time to move.
It's time to go south, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get things underway. One of the first things that kind of hit the homepage of EKN, and it's kind of a cool thing to see, is that it's really the return of the Rotax program. Obviously, it had its struggles. We've chronicled them quite a bit on the website and through our podcast as well. We know that Rotax had some issues and eventually kind of lost a bit of strength. And then with IAME coming in with SuperKarts USA and some other organizations, and now Rock coming back in, Rotax actually making its return. It's J3 Competition in the north, RTX Group in the south. Those are the two importers, and they'll put on events that you're going to hear more about. But first and foremost, David, the biggest news coming down recently was the fact that J3, which is, as I said, the Northern USA distributor for Rotax, really has now developed a new online home. The new website from J3 Competition, racerotax.com. In talking to Justin Stefani, you and I have both done it. I'm really kind of excited at the way they plan on bringing Rotax back in, where they're going to target it. You know what I mean? I think that they've got it, as they always have through their company, but they always have such a great, I believe, thought and look at the way the sport kind of develops. And I think that what they're doing with Rotax is going to be successful.
I think to begin, they needed a home, online home, and a fresh approach, because previously we've had the Go Rotax website. Which began, with the early creation of Max Speed Group, and so it's great for them to establish a new home, because you don't want to be considered with the old regime most of the time. So you want to start fresh, something new. And again, what everything that J3 does is very fresh, very clean, very organized, as they have been for the many years that they've been involved in the industry. So it's good that they have a new home now established online for, again, to not only just inform and educate people on all the Rotax racing products and stuff like that, but also the events that they'll be carrying on in 2019 and beyond.
Yeah, David, I think you hit it kind of the nail on the head, right? It's a clean sheet of paper. The Rotax program had its struggles. It's new. It's different in terms of who's running it. They've had a couple of years, at the home base back in Germany to get things dialed in from BRP Rotax. The Rotax Evo, obviously a fantastic package still, and they've dialed things in. They've had some issues, but we're able to get those fixed. You get J3 coming in, as you said. So now the new website. As David said, you can go on there and see all the engines, all the information you need on the Rotax engines, the Mojo tires, the XPS lubricants. But David, you also mentioned the events that they're going to put on. And for this year, in talking to Justin and the good folks at J3, they want to connect with different organizations. If there's a tag platform that they're able to bring the Rotax into, which is perfect that's what tag's for, so that all the engine manufacturers can play, they're going to target some of those organizations, clubs and regional series or whatever it may be with tag. But they're also going to put a couple of events on, David, and race rotax.com. That's where you're going to find the information on these 2 Stars and Stripe events.
Yeah, again, their focus is more at the local and regional levels. And again, that's where you see a lot of the tag categories now existing, because as we see at the national and sometimes at the regional level, it's down to single engine manufacturer type categories. So yeah, and again, that's where you're going to build your base, is at the local and regional levels. So that's been their focus. And again, but you still have to have that 1 or 2 events per year to where you can showcase everybody together, kind of come together and race. And again, a Rotax Grand Finals ticket is still a viable prize that people want to go and compete and win and be able to compete on the world stage. And we've had some great success over the last few years at that event, hosting it in 2013 as well. So it's still out there, and people still want that.
And make sure to stay tuned, of course, to the EKN homepage, whether you're following us on social media. A great way to figure out what's happening. You can click over to the homepage and read up on it. But we'll have more information. Excuse me. We'll have more information for sure on these Stars and Stripes events, and the plan, of course, to get Justin Stefani onto one of our podcasts pretty soon too, to talk more about what they're planning for Rotax for 2019 and beyond. David, let's move to Florida. Actually, the Sunshine State Karting program turning things up. Talk a little bit about what they've got put together. Some pretty good prizes for 2019.
Yeah, it's another growing regional program based out of obviously Sunshine State of Florida. 4 events, 8 rounds of racing throughout the 2019 season. Ocala in March, AMR Motorplex in May, Anderson Race Park in June, and then they go back to Ocala in Labor Day weekend. But it's the prize packages that are kind of standing out right now. The first one being IAME and IAME USA East are going to provide, once again, tickets to the IAME International Final in France for X30 Junior and Mini Swift champions in the series.
Well, that's really cool. One of the things that we talked about Rotax, you talk about the IAME International Final, and you have the Rock Cup International Final as well. For these 3 kind of standalone programs, which also fit into tag, wherever it may be, but even as a standalone, there's just these 3 really badass races they get a chance to go to, David, is there not? A couple, of course, in Italy, the IAME International Final in France, and to have the champions of this regional program in Florida get a chance to go over there in the X30 Junior and Mini Swift classes. I think that's a really cool opportunity for some regional Florida racers to potentially go and do something what for some will be a thrill of a lifetime.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I think you only have 4 weekends that you have to attend, and it's, again, in your home state. Yeah, Florida is a big state, but at least you don't have to cross the border or anything like that, because you look at the SCUSA Pro Tour, you got to go the whole country. Yeah. USPKS, you got to go from Florida all the way up to Indiana. So they award prizes as well too. So to have it at the regional level is pretty great to see IAME and IAME USA East pinpointing that program for them.
Well, you mentioned the USPKS as well, and that's more of the news that came out of the Sunshine State Karting Championship. Their opening round, as you had said, David, Ocala in March. MG Tire stepping up. So if you are a weekend winner from the Sunshine State opener, MG Tire is going to provide entry fee for the US PKS opener, which is also at Ocala as well. I believe it's in April, for Tag Senior, X30 Junior, Mini Swift, and Micro Swift. So all these organizations working together. So you're going to have, 4 of the weekend winners from the Sunshine State Karting Championship getting a chance to go back to Ocala to run USPKS. That's another great opportunity. That's just, I like these things lining up that are kind of giving back to the racers so they can go and do more racing, which I think is cool.
I think that's kind of been the key point. That's one of the things Scusa's done, I think, since, Tom Kutcher took over, is giving back to racers, whether it's, the Circle of Champions or the cash prize weekend for the weekend at the Pro Tour. But yeah, when these series have, similar categories and similar tire manufacturers and stuff like that mend well together, it's really easy for them to just, hey, we'll take care of your entries. It's something that doesn't take a lot of costs to provide a gift or a contingency prize for the racers for themselves who make these programs possible.
Yeah, agree. So let's go from Florida, and let's go about a 56-hour drive or something like that, all the way to the Pacific Northwest with the next little bit. Over the last, I don't know how many years, 20-something years, obviously the Northwest Gold Cup has been a pretty strong series up there in Washington and Oregon and British Columbia, sometimes into Idaho or the northern part of California. Over the last couple of years, it's kind of formed into its own program. Had the IKF banner for a while, but now by itself. The Northwest Gold Cup, David, picking up a title sponsor in City Prints, a design and apparel company based in Seattle. So the new name for that program, which was the Gold Cup, Northwest Gold Cup in the last couple of years, the ICP Cup, brand new name. First race, April 12th, 13th, and 14th in Horn Rapids. Man, and I'm hearing good numbers, over 120 or 30, potentially getting to the 150 mark in terms of entries. But anytime a regional series like that can pick up a title sponsor, I think that's a pretty big positive.
The title sponsors are key to, again, like we said, like we talk about giving back to the racers, because again, it costs money to put on events like this, whether it's track rental or paying workers or other amenities that you need to take care of in order to host events. So title sponsor helps clear up that question of, are we going to be able to afford this type of situation? So it's good to have regional programs get money that's actually outside the sport rather than, kind of going after kart shops or manufacturers within the sport. So to be able to get somebody that's outside of the karting realm, it's good to have.
And interesting, of course, we're doing our 7th episode of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. We've got 3 bits in this first segment. We talked about Rotax. We went to Florida and talked about the Sunshine State Karting Championship and their kind of partnership with IAME and IAME USA East. To cap off this bit about the Northwest Gold Cup, which is now known as the ICP Cup, David, they've actually got a great partnership with Rock Cup USA. They've signed on as a sponsor as well. They're going to provide 10 tickets to the 2019 Rock the Rio, plus engine rental as well, which I think is really cool. Obviously, there could be some guys up there that don't have the engines. 7 class champions, along with 3 other competitors, will be drawn at the final event of the ICP Cup to head down to Vegas for the Rock the Rio event. It's easy for organizations, rather manufacturers, to kind of look at the national level. But all 3 we just talked about, Rotax, IAME, and now Rock Cup, or Rock, the Vortex, all of them are looking as well into the regional program and really starting to support some regional racing, which I think you and I both know. You keep going down the pyramid, there's more racers, and they really need to kind of support the guys at the regional level. And of course, at the very bottom, the foundation, let's use that term, of grassroots club racing. To see these guys really get behind regional racing is another massive positive.
Well, it's about getting people to the racetrack, really, is what it's about. And for us, it doesn't matter if you're Rotax, if you're Rock, if you're IAME, as long as new people are coming to the racetrack, whether it be local or regional level, it doesn't matter. We just want more and more people to be part of this great sport that we are in. And yeah, as you said, it's, everybody now is starting to see, oh, if we do bring in more racers, then we have the options to have bigger events.
Right? That's exactly what it is. All right, folks, Rob Howden and David Cole here. This week in karting, it is Monday, February the 25th. I can't believe the second month of this year is almost done already. And as I said earlier, David and I jetting off to LAX for the opening round of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour this weekend. Stick with us. That's the end of our first segment here. When we come back, David and I are going to go over the Florida Winter Tour. They obviously wrapped up their second event, the temporary circuit at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. David and I will kind of work our way through actually, I'll let David run that one, but he'll quarterback a look at the Winter Tour round number 2, the events that took place down in Florida. Stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. The shift is on to a new brand and a new way of thinking. Mad Old Nut Racing and Croc Promotion USA are focused on changing the paradigm when it comes to race teams in this sport. And the goal is to support dedicated young racers by giving them the tools and opportunities to succeed. Originally born as Mad Croc, the new branding is Croc Promotion, and Armando Fellini's product continues its dedication to quality and innovation. Croc Promotion USA is the American importer and distributor, and Mad Old Nut Racing is the official race team. We're ready to attack in 2019, and our race results speak for themselves. AJ Myers swept the first 4 Winter Series shifter kart races of the year, and Andrew Bedozo continues to assert himself as an emerging player. Croc Promotion has momentum. Dedicated and talented young drivers, supported and mentored by team owners who know business and who are passionate about karting. That's Croc Promotion USA. That's Mad Old Nut Racing. Search for us on social media and give us a follow. In a sport where the difference between winning and losing is measured in hundredths of a second, you can't afford to leave anything on the table. You invest in the best equipment, the lightest components, and top-of-the-line data acquisition systems. Anything to find one more tenth, right? I'll tell you right now, the best investment you could ever make is in yourself. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the new state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy uses the very best equipment, Burrell Art Carts. They offer half-day, 1-day, 2-day, and 3-day clinics. They have a one-on-one student-to-instructor ratio, and they will design a customized curriculum for each student. Alan Rudolph is one of the most respected people in the sport, and he has nearly 20 years' experience training drivers, including Chase Elliott, Neil Alberico, Austin Versteeg, and Sabre Cook, and rising stars like Pietro Fittipaldi. Train with a champion with over 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Start off your season with a driver tune-up. Tune up your season with some driver coaching. Or get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-RACE. That's 866-607-7223. For more information, visit speedsportsracingpark.com/racing-academy.
Hello, karting fans. This is IndyCar driver Zach Veach, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back to This Week in Karting on the EKN Radio Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you're listening, of course, on your mobile app that you've downloaded to your mobile device. The app's been getting a lot of action lately, and the numbers we're seeing are exciting. And we hope that you're enjoying all the content that we're kicking out here to start the season off. David, let's jump in here and let's talk about the Florida Winter Tour. We weren't able to make the trek down there. You know, you and I have pretty packed schedules as it is. But you did put together a report based on all the intel that you were able to get, the results, what you saw online. Let's talk a little bit about what happened trackside at the Florida Winter Tour.
Well, a lot of the key element of the weekend was just repeat winners. We saw in a number of the categories drivers who won back in January, again at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. This time on a different temporary circuit from last month. Last month being South Garda, a replica of that. This month, a replica of the X-Plex, which was, kind of a shocking because, again, Garrett Potter, you don't think X-Plex, but he's like, man, I really love that place. I used to be there, back in the day. So It was really cool to see him throw that out there for that weekend, or for this weekend. And, obviously one of the big key winners of the weekend was Christian Brooks, who again swept the senior rock category. The only session that Brooks wasn't able to win was the special Dash for Media Cash event that they held Saturday, with Diego Ramos able to come out on top of the 6 driver battle that they had with the Australian Pursuit style event, which again was probably tough for Brooks to come from last to first.
Not easy. It never has been. We used to do that in the day back in Superkarts USA Promoto Tour action back in the late 90s, and it was cool to see them do that again. I know that, of course, Karting News, Canadian Karting News, RTD Media, and Kart 360 kicking the cash in for that one. And as you said, a pretty good run for Diego Ramos. But Brooks going wire to wire. It's pretty impressive right now. He's coming out of the box really strongly. I know that they've got some information. He's going to do some car racing again this year. But, in the last couple of years, we've seen Christian be so strong in the Red Bull Global Rallycross before they shut that program down. This guy's just a talent. He's in that group of guys that have run for the last however many years, 10, 15 years in karting. And he's just right there. He's just that guy that can win anytime he gets anywhere. And I'm not surprised that he was able to go in there and do so well.
Yeah, and almost had a third victory of the season, as he the weekend before almost won at the SKUSA Winter Series. But again, that win was taken away with a pushback bumper penalty.
Yes,
but,
it was.
So Brooks is shining pretty good, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him again this coming weekend, racing in what is basically considered their home track, being in Southern California.
True.
So Brooks went wire to wire on the weekend and in the final. Again, winning for a second weekend in a row over the Brazilian Arthur Least and Eduardo Barrichello, making his Florida Winter Tour debut of the year.
Yeah, 2 guys, Arthur Laced and Eduardo Barrichello, I believe both running this year again in the F4 program too. So both of those drivers moving to cars, but still stand very sharp running here in the Florida Winter Tour, Laced as well as with Brooks running in the Superkarts USA Winter Series. That's a funny thing, Dave. As I go down and look through the notes you put together for this particular segment of our This Week in Karting, a lot of the names winning races and up front here were the same people that were winning races and up front at the Winter Series. There's really a trend of seeing who's strong to start out the 2019 season.
Yeah, the name that you're really looking at is AJ Myers,
definitely one
who we saw win three of the races at the SKUSA Winter Series to clinch that championship, and then backed up his January win at the Florida Winter Tour with another victory in February. This one was a little bit harder than last month. Wasn't really at the front until basically lap 13 of the final, where he was able to come up and grab the lead and then just drive away to a 1.1 second advantage over Danny Formal and David Greco.
Here's the interesting thing. I know that, obviously here you and I are recording this on Monday. You're going to get it on Tuesday, likely. And then you look at AJ Myers, who just won again this weekend. He won at the LAKC opener at Cal Speed the week before the Winter Nats. He was able to beat Billy Musgrave there too. So Myers is like 4 for 5? I think he won 3. No, it'd be like 5 for 6 already. This is pretty impressive. He is he's off to a huge start for the Mad Old Nut Racing and Croc Promotion USA crew. Myers, as you said, with a big win over Danny Formal.
No, it'd be 6 for 7.
Well, yeah. So he won the first 2 SKUSAs. Then the first Rock, which is Florida Winter Tour, which is 3.
He won 3 of 4 at SKUSA.
You're right. 6 for 7.
2 of 2 at Florida, and then 1 for 1 at LAKC. So,
and we'll see if he gets 2 more this weekend coming up.
That's definitely going to help him in the rankings
yes,
right now.
You're right. Well, he's still number 1. Let's see. He's going to hold on to number 1. Let's put it that way at this point here. So, let's move. How about you give us an input on the Shifter Master Rock?
A round 1 winner of Shifter Master Rock, Victor Jimenez, was setting the pace throughout round 2. But issues for him in the pre-final put him off, which allowed Rene Martinelli to score the win in the pre-final. But it was actually Luis Schiavo who shined in the final, taking the victory there. Jimenez came from the back to the front, only to be penalized for contact during the race. So that dropped him off of the podium in what was probably a great comeback drive. That promoted Hernando Sanchez to second and Daniel DeBose to third.
When I was in Florida for the SCUSA Winter Series race, Renato Jader David was the guy to beat he and Rodrigo Piquet. But, we've watched Renato David before, David. He's a Super Nationals winner, always up front in Super Nats. He wins at Homestead, then comes right over and scores another Master Rock victory. This guy, he's on his game right now, running with Orsilon Racing, and as you said from your notes, was able to sweep from beginning to end. This guy's on his game right now too. And these opening weekends, we talk about it being like off-season testing, right? Or preseason, spring training, if you will, even though we're not to spring. There's a bunch of drivers right now, and Renato Jader David being one in the Masters class who is on his game out of the gate. And he's going to be tough to beat when we get to Cal Speed.
Yeah, racing is about momentum, and these guys who are drivers who are shining right now in the winter training programs that we have will start the season off strong, or at least have the momentum, and maybe just all the attention on them going into the higher profile events. So David was able to score the victory over Andres Fonseca and Rodrigo España, joining them on the podium. And then you look at the junior category, Luca Mars is another one of those names that you're talking about that is showing well in the first 2 months of the season. He's another repeat winner in Junior Rock, going wire to wire in the pre-final and final for the victory.
Well, and he beats Alessandro De Tullio and Enrico De Luca for the podium in the Junior Rock category. And again, Luca, like Renato Jader David, like AJ Myers, like Christian Brooks, all strong in the SCUSA Winter Series as well. He was very good there. Luca actually winning the championship in the SCUSA program. I'm telling you, same goes for Santiago Biaggi. He ends up winning the battle in 100cc junior, and he swept the weekend at Homestead too. You mentioned the word momentum, David. The other one I like to pair with that at the same time when guys are winning races, it's confidence, right? You get that momentum, but you get that confidence, not just in yourself, but in your machinery, in your engine, in your tuner, and everybody around you. And momentum and confidence, that's a pretty tough pairing to beat when you're heading to against someone at a major event, and you know that they're feeling good about what they're doing. Biaggi, as you noted here, wins the battle in 100cc junior.
Yeah, he was able to win over Kiffin Simpson in second, and round one winner, Chloe Chambers. But yeah, I think momentum equals confidence. I think it's kind of a math equation there where they kind of equal the same thing, because again, if you have confidence, you can almost build the momentum, or if you have the momentum, you have the confidence already. Yeah. So it's the same for Kai Sorensen when you look at mini rock category, another driver who's been strong the last 2 months, coming away with victory in the Florida Winter Tour. It was actually a victory that was handed to him by with Italian Riccardo Iannello. There it is. See, that's that I works name. See, remember?
I know.
So he was provisional winner, but suffered 2-position penalty for a driving infraction. So that gave Sorensen the victory in that category, with Anderson Leonard coming up to second and dropping Ricardo down to third.
David, you and I have a shared agreement that or belief that drivers need to not jump up so much. We see a lot of the kids. They'll jump up as soon as they get age eligible, right? They'll move from micro to mini to junior to senior. We got, 13, 14-year-old seniors, which you and I just think is just the wrong thing. I always want to see a young kid get a chance to win races, and not just win. Like, if you're running the top 10, don't move your kid up. Keep them and give them, if they can stay in the category and their size. I get it if you're too big and you're overweight. I get that. But if you can get a chance to stay in your program for the full extent, that's the way to do it. Because then you let the driver have the opportunity to learn how to win. Not only learn how to win, but maybe lose a lead and then get it back. Lose the point lead and get it back to be able to vie for championships. And I think Kai Sorensen is a really good example. His third year in this mini Swift category, and this is going to be his year to shine. He's going to win races. He's won a bunch of races already in both SCUSA and Florida Winter Tour. Kai racing with Super Tune USA on the Tony karts. This is his year, right? Next year he'll go to junior. But for right now, Kai Sorensen's looking like every time he rolls out, I think he knows he can win.
Yeah, you look at a third year in the mini category. He won the 2016 Micro Swift Championship at SCUSA Pro Tour.
Yep.
So 2017 was a rookie year. had a bit of struggles here and there, but again, showed speed. And then last year did really well. And now, so you go into your third year, again, momentum or confidence can equal momentum and help build you towards a good season. And he's already showing that in the first 2 months.
We'll cap off this quick look here at the Florida Winter Tour in their second round at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami by capping things with the micro rock category. Beckham Yasir was the double winner as well. Beckham, Dave, was real strong at the SCUSA event, but I'm looking here, and it's the same drivers again. Carson Walters was on the podium at Homestead. Enzo Vidmontien was there as well. But Beckham Yasir, he was battling with Mateus Orjuela at the SCUSA event and was right there on pace. Didn't quite have the same consistency as Orjuela, but another win here, and he's going to come out of the box even strongly when hopefully he's going to be at the SCUSA Winter Nationals this weekend in Cal Speed.
Yeah, again, that micro category across the board, no matter the engine package series that we go to, there's going to be a lot of names that we're becoming familiar with because we've seen a lot of drivers graduate for the 2019 season. So these three names are names that we think we're going to see a lot more throughout the 2019 season.
So again, Yasir with the win, Carson Walters in second, and Enzo Vidmontien in third. That's your wrap up for the Florida Winter Tour. We weren't able to do a full debrief as we weren't there, but David did the work and gave you the kind of the insight on what happened down in Miami. When we get back after this particular break, we're going to talk about the Simcraft 24, that 24-hour race in Orlando. A little bit of information about endurance karting and another 24-hour race. And we'll cap off that next segment talking about karting at the Brickyard. Stay with us. This is This Week in Karting, episode number 7. Rob Howden and David Cole on the EKN Radio Network. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience. We can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away and we ship daily. We're constantly adding new products to our online store, so keep checking back. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find molecule cleaning products, minus 273 racing gloves, micron gauges and components, and both MG and Bridgestone tires. If you're ready to take your racing to the next level, come and join us at Team FMS. We've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for many years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or at a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. For 2019, we'll be attending the SuperKart USA Winter Series, WK Manufacturers Cup, United States Pro Kart Series, and the Route 66 Kart Racing Series. And we'd love to have you under our tent at Merlin Nation. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Wheeler, Director of Motorsports for Bell Racing USA. For the 2018 SCUSA Pro Tour, be sure to check out our partners PSL Karting for all of your on-site needs, from helmets, visors, accessories, and all hardware, so you can stay safe on the racetrack. New for 2018, the CMR KC7 Carbon, the first of its kind, the only carbon helmet in the world approved by the CIK for youth use. Check it out at PSL Karting, and thanks for tuning in to EKN Live.
Hello karting fans, this is Gabby Chavez, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, folks. Great to have you tuning in here on your mobile device or potentially listening on the website at ekartingnews.com/radio. David, we did the whole Florida Winter Tour before the break. Let's jump in now and talk about the Simcraft 24 hours. I wish we could go there. Obviously busy that weekend, but a 24-hour race, March 29, 30, 31. People can still enter. We're close to, I think there's a couple of the for-hire carts still where you just go in and rent a cart. But David, they've already got over 20 teams lined up for this inaugural event. I think this is one of these races that's going to get some traction. Hopefully we'll find a date, or at least something with no conflict, or less conflicts at least, and you and I can potentially go down and drive. But a 24-hour race down in Orlando, really getting some good momentum here.
I know where I'm going to be. Where are you going to be?
No, here we go.
I know. I will actually be in GoPro Motorplex for the WKA race. Right. So that kind of limited, our options of racing there. But again, the inaugural event is coming up to be really big. Orlando Kart Center and USAC Karting are completely behind this event with TJ Halsma. And factory teams are actually getting behind this too. You got CRG Nordam, you have Margay, Praga North America, all providing factory teams to be part of the event, which again, this is a Briggs & Stratton 206 24-hour race. So you get a brand new engine, tires and fuel are all part of the entry fee as well. And it's about testing man and machine to get to 24 hours in Orlando.
Yeah, I love it. I just think it's such a great deal. The Simcraft 24 Hours of Orlando. They're drawing some cool guys to come in as well. IMSA racers Jordan Taylor, Ricky Taylor, James French, Mark Jensen, and Cameron Lawrence are going to be on the Simcraft team. And we're told that RC Enerson, who just tested for Carlin in the NTT IndyCar Series, the test they had at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, he's going to be there driving for the Lucas Oil School of Racing team as well. So a bunch of guys are coming out to play. I think, David, they had a couple of quick news bits. Again, this is This Week in Karting. We're giving you the input of what's come to the homepage recently. Some cool stuff. They have the Simcraft 24 app now that you can download. I think on our notes we're saying nearing launch. I think I just saw today online that it's ready to go. So essentially, you can download the app, and you got people. If you're trackside, if you're at home, you can keep track of all the events, what's going on at the event. They're actually going to, lots of times, David, when we have a 24 race or an endurance, it's just a team name. But they're working on some technology where you're going to know exactly who's going to be in the cart at any time, which I think is a great addition, right? It's not just Team EKN or Team Lucas Oil School of Racing or Team Simcraft. That individual driver is actually going to come up with, which I think is a big move in the right direction. Yeah,
TJ's day job working with MyLapse company that does the timing and scoring software for many, many organizations around the world. It helps to have that connection, and it's something cool that they're trying to bring into karting. And again, it's just going to take our sport to the next level if they are able to provide this type of service down the road for all organizations. But yeah, again, to be able to log onto this app, see who's actually in the cart, and to read profiles, because again, they're going to have some driver profiles on there. Yeah. So obviously team profiles, other event information on there. So again, everything is just with the way technology is moving with our mobile devices. It's just a matter of time before we get all the information we need right there for every race we go to.
Every year there's a pretty cool 24-hour race in Daytona. We've all heard about the Rolex 24, but a cool thing about this program in Orlando and the Simcraft 24 is that they work together with a timepiece manufacturer as well. Invicta Watches is going to give a watch to every driver on the overall winning team. And, people talk about winning that Rolex, but to win an Invicta, I think that's awesome too. They're putting together the right stuff to make this such an amazing race moving forward. Again, this is the very first year of this. And the concept, if you have not read it online or maybe listened to one of our other podcasts, was, Andre Martins from the Orlando Karting Center is a huge fan of the Granja 500, the big race, the long race that they put down in Brazil every year. When Tony Kanaan, Rubens Barrichello all come out and play. This is kind of trying to build that here in Orlando. And that race down in Brazil is kind of the model. And they're bringing it back here. They're doing some cool things. And David, so you have the watches, and then you add in as well, I believe the fast lap driver is going to get an entry to go to the Battle of the Brickyard. Is that indeed the case?
That is the case. So whoever posts the fastest lap of the event will be able to win a free entry towards the USAC Karting's battle at the Brickyard. Because again, USAC Karting is going to be the official team down there. So they're going to be monitoring everything throughout the 24 hours, tech-wise, on-track-wise. And then again, you have promoter TJ Halsma who's there making sure everything's in order with everything. Everybody's working. The teams are ready. Carts are ready. You got those arrive and drive carts. So it's a massive event to take on. And it's really cool to see how it's grown from just the notes that he had to what it is now.
I agree. Yeah, from thought to actual execution, pretty cool. Over 20 teams already signed up. If you had that weekend off, it's the end of March. I said, David's you're at GoPro, right? Is it WK Manufacturers Cup or is
Yep.
it? Yeah, you're with WKA. I'm in Texas at Denton, so we won't be able to make it. We hope we can next year, but just go online, figure it out. The SimCraft 24 Hours of Orlando. You can still enter. Get 4 guys, go down.
If we don't race, do you think we could broadcast for 24 hours straight?
Yeah, I had to drink a lot of coffee for sure. I think we could probably do it.
Well, we'd have to do some late night shifts. Like, I would have to take 2 hours and you take a nap, drive, like just similar to driving. Or maybe we bring in a couple announcers like Xander, Clement.
Eric Brennan, could bring Eric in maybe.
And bring down Tim Coyan even. I mean, that guy could talk forever.
Hey, there's in 24 hours, there's going to be at least one schmozzle.
Oh, lots.
Sure.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to stick with the 24-hour theme, David. Next bit here, talking about endurance karting and the 10th running of the 24 Hours of America. So there's lots of opportunities for you guys if you want to do some endurance racing. June 21, 22, 23 at the very popular Newcastle Motorsports Park. They've got arrive and drives, David. This is the endurance karting crew. And if you ever look up them online or go to their Facebook page for endurance karting, they run a ton of 6-hour races, 10-hour, 12-hour races. This will be the 10th running of their 24 Hours of America. They've got, I believe they're Dino carts, I think, with Hondas on them. So they run a pro class, semi-pro, master, legends, rookies. They run a bunch of different categories using their 4-hire carts. But they're also bringing in the Briggs & Stratton carts as well, where you can bring your own chassis as well, right?
That's correct. Yeah, you're on the Dino chassis for the arrive and drive categories again, which is what the endurance karting program was based around. Like you said, different levels. You got pro and semi-pro, and then you have masters, and then legends, which is your 45, I believe, and older. And then, of course, rookies, who are people who are new to the sport. So if you've never done, a lot of karting, or you could be an indoor karter, and you've never done outdoor, that could be a category for you as well. And then again, if you have, if you're a regular karter and you don't want to do the arrive and drive programs, you can enter in one of the 206 categories, which they have the pro, and then they have the pro 40, which is for your drivers that are, with the team average age over 40 years old. So
you mean, Dave, you mean like you now?
Yes. Like me. Yes.
Happy birthday, by the way,
you.
David. I should have out of the box. You are now 40 years of age. Damn, that's good stuff.
5 more till I'm Supermaster.
You were like 25 when you started working for me. Yeah, no wonder you look so old. You've been working for me for so long now. It's crazy.
What do you mean look so old?
Dude,
I still get carded. I still get, well, yeah, it's the kids that does that to me, but.
Anyways, folks, again, June 21, 22, 23, a little further down the road, and you're going to learn more about that. We're working with Chris McCoy and the folks at Endurance Karting, the 10th running of the 24 Hours of America at Newcastle. So another opportunity to do some endurance karting. Now, Dave, you and I kind of going back and forth a little bit here. We had a couple hashtags out there. Hashtag beat David Cole, hashtag beat Rob Howden. Our next bit here to cap off this particular segment, we're going to talk a bit about the USAC Karting 2019 Battle at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've had the fortune of working the last 3 Indianapolis 500s with IndyCar Radio. You and I are going to get a chance to race there this year. We haven't been able to do it in the past. The date always aligned for me being at Iowa Speedway with IndyCar and Road to Indy. But, dude, you and I, first week of July, we're heading to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going to go racing. I'm pretty excited about this deal.
Yeah, the 3rd edition from USAC Karting to race inside the hollow grounds of the Brickyard. Very cool, very exciting. Last year, they had the inaugural lap across the bricks, which was driving around the entire oval, again, at pace lap speed, not actual racing, but Friday, everybody got to go out and make one pace lap around the oval and cross the bricks.
Hold their GoPro,
holding
phone.
your GoPro phones. Maybe people are scattering ashes even while they're doing a pace lap. There was just so many different things going. I wasn't there. Unfortunately, I had to go and take an engine to get rebuilt because of certain situations. But this year, hopefully, myself, you, and my father will be able to do the lap across the bricks, which will be really cool to do. As you were talking, you were saying how you've been on the road with IndyCar Radio. I don't think any of the guys who are on IndyCar Radio have ever raced at the Brickyard, have they?
You know what? I don't think so. Well, no, definitely not on the big track at all, or any of the other tracks.
No GP courses or anything like that for them, or vintage cars.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're, for the most part, they're broadcasters, right? I think the only guy that races, drives on a regular basis is Ryan Marine. And he's done some karting before. I'll just have to see if we can convince Ryan to come out and drive something. He's done a lot of racing himself, so that's cool. We'll see. That's a possibility. Let's have a look, Dave, at the class structure, though. Just for those of you around the country who may not know fully about the Battle at the Brickyard, it's a pretty good cross-section, David, but it's more focused, really, on a lot of the club and regional racing. Yeah, there's some of the categories that you're going to see nationally, but a lot of it's the 206 stuff, Margay Ignite, you name it. But let's have a little look at the class structure and a little of the adjustments this year in terms of tires.
Well, the Briggs and Stratton categories were the biggest if you include the junior, the medium, the heavy, the masters, and then also the Ignite program that they had as well last year. I think it accounted for 60% of the entries, that over 400 entries that they had last year. So that's a lot of guys. But again, you have a lot of guys that are doing medium, heavy, and masters, and some guys that are doing all Ignite classes. So a lot of different areas for everybody to get as much track time as possible. And again, so Briggs 206, you have your junior category, you have medium, you have heavy, and you have masters. Again, all categories are CIK bodywork, and they're sticking with the Bridgestone YLC tire for 2019. They were originally looking at moving to Hoosier this year, but they decided to give that a year for everybody to get ready. So they're sticking with the YLC. And then next year will be Hoosier compound for 2020.
Copy. And Margay Ignite, they're a little addition there as well, right?
Yeah, they're adding the junior category, which they didn't have last year. They just had regular Briggs junior category. So now they have two junior categories in the Briggs category. So one Ignite, one regular Briggs 206. So Briggs or Margay Ignite Junior joins senior and masters. Those categories are actually moving to the Hoosier R80 compound for 2019, obviously with Margay hooking up with Hoosier as the now distributor for North America.
Yeah, they were rocking them down at the Circuit of the Americas, Coda Karting this past weekend. I saw a lot of social media on that. They're posting a lot of video, and they had some really good turnout down at Coda, which is just, to have that karting facility down there at the Circuit of the Americas, I think it's going to be so big for Texas karting. But again, yeah, as you said, David, on the Hoosiers down there, and they're going to run Hoosier as the tire at all the Ignite stuff for 2019. Now, I think another big addition you see it all over, David, is the kind of growth and the increasing popularity of the IAME KA100, and USAC Karting electing to add both KA100 Junior and Senior to the Brickyard docket this year. Yeah,
again, the KA category is growing regional and local level, and USAC Karting is recognizing that. They're obviously getting a lot of feedback on this category, so they've added that to the program as well. So those IAME engines will join the X30 Senior and X30 Master classes. All four of those categories will be on the MG tires, obviously the harder compound for KA100.
Track layout in the last couple of years has been pretty wide open. It's been fast, and the guys running the shifter categories have loved it. They're going to run Honda Shifter Senior, Honda Shifter Masters. They'll have a KZ and a KZ Masters class. All four of those categories on the Hoosier R55. And, David, Yamaha still a pretty popular engine package, even when we're seeing KA100 come in. But a lot of Yamaha racers in the Midwest.
A lot. And that's, again, Indiana probably has the most per capita racers for Yamaha. If you really look at it, in the Midwest, Yamaha is still relevant, still part of the club and regional level, especially at the KRA program at Newcastle. So a lot of the racers from there are competitors at the Battle of the Brickyard. So they're keeping with the Super Can Junior, Super Can Medium, Super Can Heavy, and Super Can Masters The junior category will be Bridgestone YLCs, but the other 3 categories are moving over to the Hoosier R60B tire for 2019.
So, David, is this that one weekend you're looking at for this year? Are you pretty excited about getting down there? I want to race again. I look forward to for you and I going head to head and having some fun. Maybe we can hook up and try to go to the front. But I'll tell you, just to be able to, I've done a lot of great things at the Brickyard. I got a chance to, announce a lot of races. Hear my voice on the PA system at the greatest spectacle in racing. It's an amazing place to be. But it's we're not racing the big track. We're not racing the GP track, but it's still racing within the walls of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's just a bucket list item, really, is what it's boiling down to, at least for our first time there. I think, being there last year on the sidelines was a bit chaotic, but it's surreal just to be, inside the Brickyard. Because again, I hadn't been there since Formula One days when we were there for our Formula Car magazine. So it was really surreal. I didn't. It was just kind of chaotic because I wasn't able to take it all in really. So I think this year will be a little bit easier. But again, it'll just be able to check it off the bucket list, and whether however we finish, it really won't matter. It'll be there. It's not like the Rock Island where we're going there to win the Rock. Like we are now, because we've raced there enough where this will be a bucket list item, and just going there really to check it off.
Well, if you have the weekend open, folks, July 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Battle of the Brickyard. It's or at the Brickyard rather. It's a big event. We're looking forward to being there. David Cole and I think we confirmed it at the last race we were at. Cole and I are going to be racing for Comet Kart Sales on the Comet Eagle, so we're both going to be on the same chassis. I may see if I can't, finagle myself a ride in one of the Ignite carts as well. Maybe the Masters class. We'll see what happens. You like that?
Yeah.
I need some more seat time. All right, let's have a quick break. When we come back, David's going to give us an update on an engine rule update, actually, from Briggs & Stratton. We're going to talk more about little Operation Grassroots with another race that Dave and I are going to attend. In fact, this next little bit is going to be essentially all four-cycle, all Operation Grassroots. Stay with us, folks. Our final segment here on This Week in Karting, up next.
History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside of Indianapolis, and they have provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers throughout their near 6 decades of business. Comet's online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. Comet Kart Sales attends dozens of karting events every year, offering trackside service for racers and families. Karting veterans Mark Dismore Jr. and Gary Lawson provide one-on-one driver coaching and tuning assistance for each trackside customer. The engine building business, Comet Racing Engines, has won countless major events and championships over decades of karting, and they continue to offer the best trackside service in the industry. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be a part of the Comet Kart Sales family today.
Hey racers, this is Rob Howden, and I'm super excited to be back with the Texas Pro Kart Challenge family this year. Gina and Mark French have put together a perfect 3-weekend series after listening to their racers. And we're heading to Denton at the end of March, then the incredible track at Amarillo in July, and we'll cap it off once again at the Jewel of Houston Karting Speed Sports Racing Park in mid-September. Get these Texas PKC dates on your personal racing calendar, and I'll see you there. The Texas Pro Kart Challenge fires up this month on March 29, 30, 31 with round 1 at NTK Kartways in Denton. It's 2 full days of racing for Mini and Micro Swift, KA100 Junior and Senior, X30 Junior, Senior and Master, Stock Honda Senior and Master, and the exciting new Pro Shifter category featuring the Miami SSE 175cc engine. Come join the Frenches and I and the whole staff at the end of the month, and let's get this new Texas Pro Kart Challenge series underway.
Hello, karting fans. This is Andy Saisman, and you are locked in to the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, and This Week in Karting, episode number 7, Monday, February 25th, 2019. Almost into March, and spring is coming around the corner. For those of you karters who are locked in the deep freeze up north and have been jealous about everybody south, it's coming. Don't worry, folks. We're only a month or so away from spring hitting and us getting back out up here anywhere north of, let's say, Charlotte, North Carolina. David, we got lots to talk about here. We essentially have, 4 bits here that kind of focus on the 4-cycle programs. Let's talk a little bit about the new rules update from Briggs & Stratton.
Yeah, it's an adjustment to Rule 19 regarding the cylinder head. Section B states now the cylinder head must be as cast. Factory machining marks on the head gasket surface is not a tech item. Previously, it was a tech item. Now it is not. And this basically, talking with a couple people, it allows for guys to be able to clean the head, allows for a little bit of scraping to remove the gasket material, whether it be sandpaper or, knives or, spatulas, whatever you need to get that clean. So that's not going to be a tech item no longer.
All right. So, David, before the break, we talked about the USAC karting battle at the Brickyard, another race that you and I are both planning to race on, a race at, and we're pretty excited about it too, because it's just an event that is growing. You've got some awesome races here right now. If you're a one-off guy, you've got, especially if you're 4-cycle, you've got the battle at the Brickyard, you got the Quincy Grand Prix, you got the Elkhart Grand Prix, you've got the Rock Island Grand Prix, but the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals has really dialed things up. They have a pretty solid program, regional program through the Midwest they're doing as well. We'll talk about rules and class structure, but their Grand Nationals is another event in the first weekend of October that Dave and I are looking to get to. But David, let's give them an update, because Greg Jasperson and their crew just really released recently. That's why we're doing it on This Week in Karting. Found its way, of course, to the homepage of EKN when they sent the release out to us. But an update in terms of rules and class structure for 2019.
Yeah, the class structure is really similar to what they had last year regarding the number of categories that they offer. But we'll point out some of the changes that they're making to them. The most significant really is the Masters class, which is going to CIK bodywork rules only. That's something that's obviously been a discussion since 206 racing really started becoming more popular. Yeah. Was what you want to call Gold Cup style bodywork, where it's the full nose and full fairing and full body panels and everything like that, to where, a lot more competitors are moving towards the CIK style bodywork. And really, it's really the Midwest and the Southeast where you really only see the Gold Cup style bodywork any longer. And so the Cup Karts North America now is making the Masters class strictly CIK bodywork rules only, along with the kid karts as well too. But that's still allowed. They still have their senior medium open and senior heavy open, which allows for any type of bodywork that you may have.
Copy. What else do we got in terms of categories?
So those 1, 2, 3, 4 categories that I just mentioned still remain. The other ones to round out their program include the sportsman category, junior and senior medium CIK. So that's their CIK bodywork class, to where they have the senior medium open and, as I said, senior heavy open for any bodywork. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories for their program. Again, 5 events on the calendar, beginning with, as we talked about, or we haven't talked about yet, they're opening up their season now, called the Spring Nationals.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. They're trying to get, put some more focus, more spotlight on what's happening. They had ran a couple different programs last year, 2 different series. They're bringing them back together to just one. And as you said, David, May 4-5, start of May, they're kicking things off at Concept Hullers Motor Speedway, that many of us old-timers know as Norway, with the Spring Nationals. And I think that they're really trying to get behind that event to make it something big.
Yeah, again, $10,000 prize package just for that weekend alone. Again, it's been typically one of their bigger events of the season. Again, everybody's wants to start out the season. You know, May comes around, everybody's itching to get to the racetrack. So it's really has been one of their biggest events of the season. So, you know, Greg Jasperson and Steve are able to are putting together a great program. A lot of different companies providing some prizes and awards for just that weekend alone. So it's going to be a great weekend for 206 racers.
Keep your eye on the schedule for the EKN Radio Network. I'm going to pin down Greg Jasperson for another Industry Insider podcast. It'd be a good opportunity to talk to him. Let him kind of give us a full feel of what they're planning for 2019. The Grand Nationals, as I said, first week of October. They're looking at changing the structure, so nothing's been decided yet in terms of how they're going to run that weekend. I know that they're really excited about getting more drivers coming down from Canada for the Grand Nationals. They had a couple of guys come down and really enjoy themselves last year. So stay tuned. A lot more information to come.
Yeah, guys from the West Coast, guys from Southeast.
David Vasquez came in.
Yeah. So a lot of different drivers were there in Newcastle last year, and I think it'll be just as big, if not bigger, in 2019.
They were almost 200 last year, and I told him and talking to him, I would bet it's 250 this year. I would be willing to put $100 down that it'll be 250 or more for this year, because I just think Dave, we say it all the time, numbers breed numbers, right? So there's the more guys come, you don't want to miss out. You want to be part of it. You want to be part of that 30, 40, 50 kart grid, and you can do that at Newcastle. I think 250 is pretty doable. We know we're going to add 2 at least, because you and I are both going to that race to drive. Let's talk Margay. The Margay Ignite program. You know, we mentioned it already when we talked about the Battle of the Brickyard. It really has been a tremendous program in terms of getting people from kind of that more rental car racing into the full karts. You know, the initial price was below $4,000. I think it's just a little over $4,000 now for a brand new kart package, which I always keep saying makes that affordable used kart as well. Now, David, they've been growing like crazy out of their kind of home base in St. Louis, out of Gateway. They added a program at Autobahn. They've hooked up with the guys at 61 Cartway. They had the Ignite program at Rock Island, and then of course over at the Battle of the Brickyard. It's just growing. And then of course they get this new program down at Coda Karting in Austin, Texas. Talk a little bit about the Margay Ignite Challenge schedule, which they announced recently.
Yeah, the Margay Ignite Challenge is a series that's been going on. I think this is the 3rd season that they've done this. And again, it's a way to kind of provide those local racers, Ignite racers, the opportunity to travel 4 or 5 times a season to experience different racetracks rather than just their own home track that they go and attend to. The class structure is pretty simple. You have Ignite Rookie, which is basically your cadet ages. You have Ignite Junior, you have Ignite Senior, you have Ignite Masters, and an Ignite Heavy category. And then they also throw in Kid Kart Honda division. So drivers who are on the Margay Kid Kart chassis are able to participate in this as well too. This year, they're obviously with the move for Margay adding on the Hoosier brand. They're moving all the Ignite categories to the Hoosier R80 compound, and then Kid Karts will be on the R60B compound. But again, and then this year they also changing the format as well to where instead of just one race for the day, because it's only a 1-day type event. They're going to do a double feature event format. So you're going to have 3 rounds of practice, a qualifying session, and then 2 features to follow that. So it's actually going to be a 10-round championship towards the year-end awards.
So the schedule, based on what we have here, TNT Kartway is kicking things off April 6th. Are they actually doing a back-to-back at 2 different tracks on a Saturday, Sunday?
So they'll go to TNT on Saturday, and then on Sunday they will go and travel to Mid-State Kart Club, which is in Springfield, Illinois.
I love that. That's like old school stock car, barnstorming, right? Go from track to track.
It's kind of like that USAC mentality, World of Outlaws. Well, they'll race at one track one day and kind of go there. And it's a I was just looking it up, 112-mile distance, basically, 2-hour drive,
a couple hours
between the 2
love
tracks.
That.
So
that is cool.
That's something that we're not available that weekend, but I think that's something we'll kind of get on with a couple drivers and maybe do a driver blog talking about going from one racetrack to another in the same weekend.
Yeah, like I love it. I think that's a great. I would love to do that. It'd be fun. You're right. We're both busy that weekend, but I would love to do that. Fast forward then to June 22nd. They're at 61 Cartway. End of July 27th. They got a new track layout for 2019 at Audubon Country Club, and they'll cap things off at the end of the year, October 12th, at Gateway Kartplex. So again, just a really, really cool program for the Margay Ignite Challenge. And David, essentially to cap off all our news pieces, let's stick with the Gateway theme and talk about Gateway Kartplex announcing they've gone fully to the Hoosier Tire program as well in 2019.
Yeah, Gateway Kartplex is basically the official home of Margay Racing, just on the other side of the Mississippi River on the Illinois side, I should say, because Margay is actually located on the Missouri side. The Gateway Kartplex actually does a couple of different racing programs. One of the packages that they have, they call it Super Comp classes, which involves Kid Kart, Briggs, your standard Briggs 206 categories with rookie, junior, senior. They also provide Yamaha Cadet, junior and senior, and also Tag Cadet, junior and senior. Those categories are moving over to the Hoosier tires. They'll be utilizing the R60B compound to where previously was a Bridgestone YLC tire, and both tires will be allowed for use up until round 6 of the 2019 season. After that, it'll be strictly Hoosier tires. The other side of their program is the Ignite program, which of course we know all the different age groups as well there. That program is moving to the R80 compound for Hoosier.
Tons of information for you here, folks. David, let's wrap things up now. Let's kind of have a little look over what we've done recently, what's been on the website recently in terms of our original editorial. We'll hit on some of the podcasts that are actually now available on demand. As I had said earlier, here on the EKN Radio Network, all our content, all our original stuff comes out essentially streaming on the app and on the radio network first. You know, a couple days after that, anywhere between 3 and maybe a week, we'll turn it into a podcast. It then becomes available to download to your iTunes, Google Play. You can grab it on Podbean, on Spotify, and of course, as I said, I think it's ekartingnews.com/podcast, I believe is where the lineup is if you want to look at it just on your desktop. But David, editorially, you know, you and I always sit down and figure out who we're going to pick after some pretty good performances for Driver of the Month. In January, AJ Myers getting the nod. I want to say it was tough because there were lots of guys that did really well in January, but man, Myers just came out of the box so strongly. You and I both agreed that he's getting the Driver of the Month for January. Yeah,
it's tough to come off winning sometimes a national championship to defend it early on, and Myers did that in the first month of January, winning both races at the SCUSA Winter Series and then winning the weekend after at Florida Winter Tour. So again, as we talked earlier, he's won 6 of the 7 races that he's been in 2019. So it's a great start for AJ Myers and the Croc Promotion program.
No doubt. Now, David, you've been cranking out the Briggs & Stratton Racing Weekly Racing Series profiles. They're going to keep continuing because you're going through the top 10, right?
Yeah, I think we're into the upper half now of the top 10 for Junior, USA, and Canada standings. So we have the three different standings that we're covering, and going through all the different top 10 finishers from 2018. So it was easy early on, but now that we're going to races, it's getting a little bit more difficult to find the time to write these. But we're getting into the top 5 for each of those categories.
Let's kick the disclaimer out as well too that people aren't always the fastest in getting back to us with information as well, because you obviously try to get information from all these drivers, and it's not always the fastest thing that comes back.
It's been really good this year. I'm shockingly surprised. There was a couple of people that were really tough to get a hold of, just to even find, because not everybody's on Facebook. You'd be surprised that not everybody is on Facebook. So or even Instagram. Sometimes you have to even go down to the IG app and try and find them down there.
So again, David is cranking out more and more editorial. And again, congratulations to AJ Myers, our Driver of the Month for January. Let's have a look at some of the podcasts. Again, as I said before, the initial time we have content comes out here streaming on the EKN Radio Network. We usually give it a good hit. normally for maybe a full 24 hours, and then we'll splash it in with a couple other things, kind of have a rotation going for a couple of days. And then, of course, we bring out the podcast. Most recently, podcasts that were made available on demand, our last, This Week in Karting. As David mentioned before, January 30th. I can't believe, Dave, that's like over 3 weeks ago. It's
been busy, man.
February flew by. It has been busy.
Well, it typically does because it's only 28 days, Rob.
Dude, that's only 2 or 3 days less than a regular month. It's not like it's 10 days. It's not like it's like a 20-day month. It's a couple of days.
It's the most important month. I can tell you that. It's the most important month. Because there would be no Michael Jordan and there would be no David Cole.
And you wouldn't be 40. 40.
That's fine. Hey. Age is just a number, baby.
That's what I keep telling you. That's why I'm 10 years older than you. I'm 50, baby. And if I kick your butt at the Battle of the Brickyard, see, if I beat you, you will never live it down. If you beat me, I can just say he's 10 years older than me and 10 years younger than me.
If we're gonna talk some smack right now, let me just tell you this right now. So
Go.
I weighed myself at the Challenge of the Americas. I came in at 200 pounds
with all your clothes on, of course. You didn't strip down for the boys out there.
Well, of course not. No, it's too cold, man. Talking shrinkage.
It was cold. It was cold out there. You're right. So 200 pounds.
So then I weighed myself this weekend, and I was 5 pounds down from that. Wow. I mean, come on. I didn't even work out. I've been eating ice cream, eating pizza, chowing down on the burgers, and I could just lose weight like that. So I think I'm good.
Dude, you're fading away.
No, it's just monitoring what I eat. I'm just not pigging out. So that's all I got to do.
Good man.
So the whole month of June, I'll just, I'll only eat one bowl of ice cream instead of 2 every day.
Okay, good.
and then be able to beat you. So we'll be good.
All right. Well, it's not all about weight. As long as I get down to the weight, we should be okay. We'll see how it goes. It's gonna be fun.
It's not all about weight.
I had a chance to do a couple of great industry insiders. Talk to Garrett Potter from Rock Cup USA. Of course, that's a lot of things going on with Rock Cup USA. I talked to Marco Oldoffer as well. First time I've had a chance to talk to the promoter of the F-Series Gear Up Challenge. And again, a really cool program up in the Northeast. Also the track owner of the New York Race Complex, which is a fantastic facility in the northeastern part of the state. They got a great program for F-Series. If you haven't listened to that one yet, go listen to it on demand because Marco, of course, talks a lot about what they've got going on. We did a couple of debriefs as well. David and I had our hashtag dual weekend where he was at the Challenge of the Americas opener at Cal Speed. I was at the finale for the SCUSA Winter Series. And in doing so, we had to launch EKN2. So like ESPN and ESPN2, we did the same thing. So we have 2 different channels now because I think, David, there's 2 more dual weekends, right? I'm one place and you're another place, I think. There's 2 more.
The end of March I'll be at GoPro and you'll be at the Texas race, and then
Sonoma.
The weekend after that, you'll be in Sonoma and I will be at Ocala for USBKS. Yeah.
And I'm there for the final round of the Challenge of the Americas in Sonoma. Fantastic.
So that's back-to-back dual weekends. So that's a long hashtag. I don't know how we're gonna have to do like B2B DW.
Wow. All right. Business to business, Darryl Wolf.
There you go.
Good for you. And the crazy thing about that is we got to knock out 4 debriefs after that as well. When we fly home on Monday and fly to the next race on Thursday. So essentially we have Tuesday and Wednesday to knock out 2 debriefs.
It's going to be a long 2 weeks.
It's going to be a long 2 weeks. You're right. All right. Here's what's coming up though, folks. Somehow we have to jam this in there to these back-to-back weekends. But I have planned podcasts for the EKN Radio Network. On the docket, we've got Mike Burrell, of course, USAC Karting. Need to talk to him about the Battle of the Brickyard. Probably ask a little bit about the 24 Hours of Orlando. We'll talk about the Elkhart Grand Prix. As I said before, Greg Jasperson and I are going to sit down and talk about Cup Karts North America. I got Terry Trader as well for the Quincy Grand Prix. What a great year. They brought that event back last year, had over 300 entries for the Quincy Grand Prix. Like 10,000 or more spectators out at South Park for the weekend. That's a race that came back and made a lot of people happy. I'm sure there's going to be more racers there because I got an interview right now I'm working on. It's actually going to be a story you're going to see coming soon because I'm doing an interview with him just to talk about things that are happening right now. They've invested a lot more, even more safety for Quincy. And then we'll talk to Terry later on. And then I'm looking to lock down the second edition of my Book It podcast, my In Conversation podcast. And the guy we're going to sit down with, it could be interesting, the legendary Lynn Haddock. That should be a lot of fun for sure, talking to Lynn. I don't know if I could do a 3-hour podcast because, David, I'm sure we could get Lynn talking about the past, talking about going to Europe and racing against the dogs in Europe. We could just talk about what's wrong with karting right now. I'm sure that would fill up an hour, I would think.
That'll
right?
be at least a half hour, yeah. I mean, he's not very long-winded. I mean, he's pretty short and to the point.
That's true.
But yeah, there'll be a lot of different items to discuss in that situation or area of the sport. But then also, as you said, talk about the past, racing overseas, racing, working alongside Lake Speed, racing at the Long Beach Grand Prix and in the Laydown Twins, all the different stuff, just the kind of the progression of engines, because Lynn's been so involved in the development of engines that karting has utilized over the last 40, 50 years. So again, there's just so many different items to talk about with him.
It could probably be a 2-part series or one now and one later. That's for sure. And one thing I'm going to ask him about is how much he likes all the bodywork on the karts nowadays.
That'll be a long one. Yeah.
All right, folks, here's what's coming up on EKN in terms of our EKN Trackside Live program. As David and I had said, we are on the road. This weekend, we leave, and I'm leaving Wednesday, you're leaving Thursday. Superkarts USA Pro Tour for 2019 kicking off the 3rd annual Winter Nationals. We're heading to Cal Speed Karting in Fontana, California, March 1, 2, 3. Of course, we'll be live come Friday with the final practice session. We're gonna plan on doing some Facebook Live stuff too. Maybe a pit lane walk. Make sure you follow us on social media. If you're not following eKarting News on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, do that because we're getting a lot of content out on IG, on the Instagram stories, and we'll do some Facebook Live as we did before. Then, David, we get a couple of weeks off. No, actually, no. I get a couple of weeks off in terms of karting. The following weekend, you go to the Challenge of the Americas, round number 2, which is really rounds 3 and 4, March 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Musselman Honda Circuit. We'll find out whether or not it's still covered in snow by the time you get there. You see those pictures?
It was pretty cool to see, wow. All these different areas that were getting snow. I mean, Fontana was getting some glimmer of snow before their LAKC event as well. So, it's wild to see Musselman. Again, we were there when it was freezing temperatures, but it was sunny and no clouds in the sky. So that was the only positive on that weekend.
When I said I would get a couple weekends off, I kind of forgot about the fact that no, I don't. I'm going to the IndyCar and Road to Indy opener at St. Petersburg when you're going to be at Musselman Honda Circuit. Otherwise, I'd be with you at the Challenge of the Americas. Then I get a weekend off. Then I get to go to Circuit of the Americas, though, for IndyCar and Indy Lights, which is awesome. And I'm going to do what I can to get in a cart while I'm there. I think that would be fun. And then we wrap it up again, dude. We have a double weekend at the end of the month, March 29, 30, 31, a dual weekend, as we had said, back to back. You're at the WK Manufacturers Cup Series at GoPro, and I'm at the Texas Pro Kart Challenge at North Texas Kart. Going to Denton for some Texas Pro Kart Challenge racing. Dude, we're rolling. We got lots to do over the next 3 to 4 to 5 weeks.
Yes, we do.
Is there any end in sight? Like, I think I have 3 weekends off in April, which is ridiculous. After Sonoma, I don't think I'm back until probably May, the start of May, to the Spring Nationals in Utah. I think I have 3 weekends off. I think you got something in there. Do you know?
Oh yeah, it's going to be nonstop for me.
Easy now. Forward, so. Let's not get too cocky with the nonstop stuff. Let me scroll down here. So you get 2 weekends off, right? No, do we both have exactly the same time off? I think. Yeah, I do Sonoma on the April weekend. You do Ocala. Then we're off for 3 weekends, dude. Mm-hmm. We get 3 weekends off.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, the next 6 weeks. Yeah, I'm on 5, you're on 4. We got the next. We're on the throttle for the next 6 weeks. Don't worry about that. Hey, listen, at least you're going to go somewhere warm. You don't have to plow the snow because you've been doing that like crazy.
That's what you guys said about Fontana a couple weeks ago, and that was not exactly warm.
Well, I was super excited about this coming weekend, too, because it looked like we were going to have, at least last week, a long-range forecast was sunny and like light, low 70s. You look now at the forecast for Fontana and the Winter Nationals. Now we're looking at high 50s, low 60s, and potential rain all weekend. So at least Saturday and Sunday. I'm hoping.
Well, at least my rain gear is still there already, so we'll be good there.
I'm packing mine with me too. So David, there you go. Any final words from this week in karting?
No, it's been a busy 3 weeks that we haven't done this podcast. So a lot that we talked about, and again, we got a lot more coming after this in the month of March.
Folks, we hope you enjoyed this edition of This Week in Karting. Again, always perfect for the morning commute to work or on your way home in the afternoon. All you got to do is when it comes to the podcast, just fire it up on your iTunes. You're good to go. Otherwise, over the next couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be playing it continually on the EKN Radio Network, and it'll be perfect for those of you, as all the future ones will, to be able to kind of give you some something to let your mind wander a bit when you're heading home from work, listening about karting instead of worrying about the news nowadays, because it's just not always fun. Guys, David, thanks for joining me, buddy. Go get packed. We got to roll pretty soon.
I'm working on it. Working on that.
Bring some warm clothes. We are not going out to sunny California this time, I don't think.
No, it might be sun, but it'll be cold.
It's going to be chilly. So, folks, there you go. A full wrap-up of everything we've had essentially over the last probably 2 to 3 weeks on the EKN homepage. This Week in Karting, one of our newest podcasts here on the EKN Radio Network. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.